Hi, Jabari Cook here, and in this video I would be implementing VPN Solutions. Okay, so VPN, the Virtual Private Network. This is a private network that exists and creates a secure network connection over a public network through the use of the internet. Alright, so let's begin. First, we like to go to the server manager. Alright, and we are going to be adding a role. So we click add roles. Alright, so roles. And we're going to be selecting the network policy and access services. Okay, here we click next. Alright, next. Alright, so we'll be selecting the network policy server and the routing and remote access services. Okay, so as you can see here, there's a description of what network policy server does, and there's a description of the routing and remote access services. Okay, so we'll just click next and install. Alright, so the installation succeeded. Now we'll close this. Just minimize this. Alright, so now we like to go to the start menu, administrative tools, and we are looking for routing and remote access. There it is. Okay, so here we select the server and we'll configure the routing and remote access server. So we right click, configure. Alright, we click next here. Okay, and here we like to select the custom configuration. Next, and we'll be selecting VPN access. Next. Alright, click finish. Alright, so we get a warning here. Routing and remote access has created a default connection request policy called Microsoft Routing and Remote Access Service Policy. To ensure that this new policy does not conflict with existing network policy server connection and request policies, open the NPS console and verify that it is configured properly. We select OK and start service. Okay, so we just wait. Alright, here we click finish. Okay. Okay, so now we like to select ports and we right click on ports and go into the properties. Okay, so now we are going to configure the ports on the WAN mini port SSTP and the WAN mini port L2TP. Alright, so I'll just open the WAN mini port SSTP and we'll change the maximum ports to 25. Okay, select yes here, and we'll do the same for the one mini port L2 TP. Open it. Maximum ports 25. Okay. Yes. We apply. Okay. Alright, so minimize this. And now we'd like to go to the start menu, administrative tools, and network policy server. Okay, so here we like to come to the policies. Okay, and we like to configure network policies. Alright, so as you can see, there are two policies created here, but I like to create a new policy. Alright, so new, and we like to name this policy, so we'll call it VPN policy, and we would be changing the type of network access server to remote access server VPN dial-up. Okay, click next. Here we click add, and we are going to scroll on until we see tunnel type. Tunnel type. I'm going to add this. Okay. Alright, so here we will be specifying the tunnel types to required to match this policy. So I'll select the layer 2 tunneling protocol and the point-to-point tunneling protocol. Okay. Yeah, and we just click add here. Oh, sorry, not that. We click next, sorry, and we specify the access permissions. Okay, I'll leave it as access granted. Next. Alright, so now we just remove some of the authentication methods here. So we'll remove the user can change password after it has expired and the Microsoft encryption authentication. Next. Okay. So here we will be able to configure the constraints. As you can see here, configure constraints. First we'll configure the day and time restrictions. Alright, so here we'll allow access only on these days and at these times that the client has access. Alright, allow access, and we're going to edit. Alright, and here we can choose the days and times. Alright, so choose from Monday to Friday, from 8 to 4. Alright. Okay, so after configuring the day and time restrictions, we click next. And we need to configure the encryption, and we remove basic encryption, strong encryption, new encryption, and we leave it as the strongest encryption MPPE 128-bit. Click next. Alright, okay. So we have successfully created the following network policy. Alright, so we just click finish. And here it is, the new policy, VPN policy. Okay, so we'll then move to the client computer. Okay, open network sharing center, and we like to set up a new connection on network. I'll be connecting to our workplace. Use my internet connection, VPN, setup connection. Okay, so here we enter the internet address, which is the IP address of the server. So 192.168.0.1. Alright, destination name, we'll name this server VPN connection. We'll click next. Username will be administrator, and the password that you set. Alright, create. Okay, the connection is ready to use. We'll close this off. Okay, so now come to the sorry. Alright, so as you can see here, it is disconnected. Server VPN connection is disconnected, so we'll right click on this and connect. Here we'll add the password. Alright, save this, connect. Alright, so as you can see, it is connected. Okay, so now if I go back to my server, okay, and then my ports, as you can see here, one mini port VPN device is active. Alright, so now we'll go to Windows Firewall. Just type it in here. Windows Firewall, and we are going to allow a programmer feature through Windows Firewall. Alright, and we want to come to routing and remote access. Alright, select. Okay. Okay. Now we'll go across to the server. Start menu, administrative tools, and we are going into routing and remote access. Alright, server, remote access clients. So as you can see here, and it says the duration of time. Okay. Alright, and if I right click here and click status, you can see it's logged in with this IP address here, and I can choose to disconnect it if I want. Alright, and now if you go to IP version 4, we expand this here, general properties. Here we have the event login. Okay, so we can log errors only, log errors and warnings, log the maximum amount of information, or disable event login. Alright, if you come to remote access login here, right click and relaunch NPS. Alright, and we click accounting. Here, as you can see, we can configure accounting. Alright, and we click next. Alright, so as I said before, this is the accounting options. You can log to a SQL Server database, log to a text file on your local computer, simultaneously log to a SQL Server database and to a local text file, or log to a SQL Server database using text file login for failover. Okay, we'll select log to a text file on a local computer. Next, we leave all these checked. Alright, next, Oh, sorry. Go to browse. To local disk. Create a new folder. We'll call it logs. Okay. Click next. Right. So this is just a summary of what we just did. Okay. Click next. Close. Alright, so if there are any logs, or sorry, if there are any events saved, it will save in this logs file here. Okay, so we have come to the end of my video. I thank you for viewing, and so I'll see you next time.